doesn't Rome exist?
Because it was invented by the Spanish Inquisition, I think,
Uh-huh.
as happens, you know.
Yeah, yeah. As one does,
But what are we covering today?
So today, I know you've been out for a while, and I wanted to welcome you back properly. I wanted so badly to give you flat Earth, but my brain just couldn't. Yeah, I watched so many videos, and I was just like, no, no, I'm tired. Like, I can't do this. I can't. But I brought to you something that is similarly stupid, possibly more. And, because you are a scientist, I didn't want to let you down and just like bring you a bunch of claims. I wanted to actually get math involved. I brought to you someone who definitely has
Uh,
a lot of numbers.
the more numbers, the more right you are, is how I understood it when
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
5.
Numbers
So,
and repetition apparently are the claim to fame. And idiots, if you are totally funded by idiots, that too will bring you fame, apparently. So,
it'll bring you more funding at the very least.
yes, idiots
'Cause-
love, holy shit, love throwing money at you. And I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I guess I could go find idiots. I don't see any idiots in my chat.
oh, hold
Um,
on. Let me get in there. I'll be right there.
and try to go kind of slow because, again, he says a lot of words and it can get really boring. So I'm hoping that you can, like, I don't know. You're going to have to help me out because a lot of this stuff is just like the stupid, right?
You see how it orbits?
Indeed.
Let me know.
That celestial sphere will rotate once every 23 hours, 56 minutes.
Can you hear me or did I?
I can hear you. I can still hear you. I heard the
Um,
video for a moment too, as well,
yeah,
but it's buffering now, as you can probably see.
yeah, it's annoying.
Who is Lord Stephen Christ?
Yes.
Does this guy think he's Christ?
He thinks he is the reincarnation of both Jesus Christ and the devil.
The third dimension, right? And so
Okay, well, I'm just gonna need to take a moment to incorporate that.
will rotate
Oh,
once every 23
Can you hear
hours,
me?
bless
56
you.
minutes, 4 seconds, which is sidereal time. And the sun you see there on the left,
And can everyone hear it?
the
Exactly.
profile of a half of a sphere, because that's the true shape of the sun. Once again, nature tricks the eye and gives you the illusion from Earth's vantage point that the sun is a ball. You think that it's a rotating ball because you see
Oh yeah.
sunspots.
What am I
traversing
looking
from-
at? What?
So we are looking at the sun. That triangle is actually the sun. It only looks like a
Oh, that
sphere.
triangle. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. It only
Is
looks like
that
a sphere.
is it the little triangle or the whole triangle?
The whole triangle, that gold
Okay.
thing, is the sun, in its true form.
Which is a triangle?
It's a triangle. Like we see it as a ball, but it's an optical illusion. That is the real sun.
I what?
I told you to
Okay.
take a nap.
I didn't take a nap, but okay.
I
Well,
told you.
this is there's so much happening here. So I will say I have very little experience with Hollow Earth people before. I will say though that the experience I do have, they tend to be really good at animating and making very pretty movies.
Yes.
It's
They-
like remarkable how high quality the visuals are,
Right.
and it's like you're clearly competent at like
Something.
things that aren't trivial. How can you believe this nonsense?
No, like seriously, because you can't find pictures like this just like off NASA's website, right?
Yeah, well, yeah,
you would
no.
have to put something like this together because there's just too much stupid going on in it. So these
It
are the
is.
constellations rotating around the sun.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
But
he put this
it's
together.
just an illusion.
Oh, and there's the
It's
moon.
not true.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just
There's
an
a
Rotating
illusion.
in one of
difference
the
in
spheres
the
around the sun.
velocity of the sunspots going across the equator versus going across the so-called poles of the sun, which is what they call a differential rotation, and that's one of the reasons why they have to conclude that it's a
Okay, so what he just talked about is the fact that sunspots go basically that the equator of the sun rotates at a slower rate than the poles do, which has nothing to do with anything that is in the same universe as what's on screen right now. Okay, just which
I don't know if he knows
is
that though.
no, it seems not.
gaseous ball of hydrogen, and it's not a gaseous ball of hydrogen.
It
It's
is a
most
gaseous ball of
likely
hydrogen.
made out of iron, but
Well,
hydrogen gas is being emitted from the photosphere of the sun. Likely made out of iron, but hydrogen gas is being
okay, so he thinks that the sun is made out of iron.
Yes.
That would make it much heavier than it is.
Indeed.
And I don't even know what would happen if you just had a chunk of iron,
Well, I mean,
the
okay,
mass of the
this
sun.
is all happening
that
in the
would probably
core. This is all happening in the core of our Earth. So iron core.
Oh, right. Okay. You're right. You're right.
emitted from the photosphere of the sun,
Yeah.
which is picked up in
Can't have an
stellar
iron sun if it's not in the
spectroscopy
core.
with their emission lines, and it shows that hydrogen is one of the main elements, but it doesn't constitute the actual physical material that the sun is made out of. It's not a gaseous ball. It's actually
Okay, so hydrogen is one of the main elements,
Mhm,
but
mhm.
which he acknowledges from spectroscopy. That's already a level of literacy that is not necessarily to be expected a priori from
Yeah.
someone who thinks the Earth is hollow.
Yeah.
But so it's made out of hydrogen, but it's not one of the main materials. That is not necessarily a contradiction, but
It's a thought.
it needs explaining.
hard
Let's see if that happens.
Yeah, I mean,
object.
I'm ready to have my mind blown or turned inside out, or made hollow or something. Whatever.
Made hollow. Yeah.
Yeah, it'll. Yeah, that wasn't. That's not a cry for help. I'm not going to harm myself just to make everybody out there feel all right. But
in the sky, and it's being powered from behind electromagnetically by collimated magnetic rays of light emanating from the top of the octahedron. It's a circuit. It's a connected circuit, as I mentioned before in previous videos, where that light is emanating out of the front of the sun. It's curving around. It's actually creating this kind of onion-like shape.
okay, so he went full Ken. Well, no, he didn't go full Ken Wheeler. He went like a third Ken Wheeler there for a moment and put some word salad together. Which, for the record, whenever we encounter Ken Wheeler word salad, what does all of that mean? Does the class remember? It means nothing.
Drink.
It means nothing, class, and maybe it also means drink. But a legal disclaimer: that's on you.
I am not responsible for the alcohol poisoning if you start a drinking game here.
Okay, but octahedron, I don't see any octahedrons. And apparently the sun is emitting the light, which we can see. We can see the light's coming out,
Yeah.
and light, I guess, is magnetism, so it just loops around,
Sure.
and then it comes back in the other end. Okay,
Mhm.
it's like it's its own little circle of love.
We'll
It
say that.
actually splays out. It's splaying out against the glass. It's behind at least 3 levels of glass. We have the glass that surrounds the sun and the planets.
There's 3 firmaments.
That's that glass that you see.
Okay, 3 firmaments, but specifically it's glass.
Glass firmament, yes. Not a metal dome. Glass firmament.
Okay.
In between the other glass, the moon, the glass that surrounds the moon. And then there's a glass outside of this picture frame, which is at 100 kilometers high. So the actual ground in this animation is out of frame, meaning that there's more Earth to it. So, but in order to get a good close-up on the celestial sphere, I had to zoom in closer so we would crop out the actual glass sky and the actual concavity of the Earth. But you see it in the background anyway. But that's what it is. We have a complete...
That didn't provide anything like an explanation of what it is.
Oh, you looking for sense to be made?
I mean, I'm trying to steel man this in my head. Okay, so we got, I guess, the fundamental claim here, which hasn't actually been made because I don't think the word Earth has really come up yet. Well, it has.
Well, we're in the Earth.
Yeah, we're in the Earth, and it's in the background there. So the sun is this molten core of iron that is in the middle of the hollow. Where does night come from?
I think he shows it in a little bit, but okay, so like the firmament.
Maybe the light is coming out of one end of the sun,
Right.
and when it comes out and it's going around, then that's
there's a whole-
daytime, and then it goes around to the other side, and it's nighttime.
Yeah, no, it's like a spotlight. Which is what I'm not sure about this guy, but most hollow earthers believe like spotlight sun. So like there's a hole in the firmament, and as it goes around, that's how we see light. We see the sun. It really doesn't speak to sunset unless it's also an optical illusion. But yeah, I believe it's spotlight sun.
Yeah, and I mean, there's already at least a mechanism here that you can hand wave away into providing some sort of access for there to be a spotlight thing, which would be like the magnetic field lines. I mean, they're depicted right here, like these things. Like you can, and this is a thing that happens in astronomy and whatnot.
Circuit
is that you'll have jets of material and radiation, electromagnetic radiation, coming out at the poles, and they spin around and they're flashing us every bit, and that's like what pulsars are.
Yeah,
and whatnot.
pulsars. Yeah.
So
this isn't that.
it's a pulsar.
It is not.
All right.
electromagnetic circuit.
Right.
Everything.
Also, electromagnetic circuit. Just to if you've got misplaced electrical concepts on your bingo card of pseudoscience, then we've got that one.
From the central octahedron. Now, I mentioned before,
There's no octahedron, bro. That's not an octahedron. That might be a tetrahedron, but it's not an octahedron. An octahedron has 8 sides.
Octo, yeah.
That the octahedron is evident, and it can't be picked up with Canadian meteor.
It's an octahedron is like if you took the Pyramid of Giza and you glued another copy of it to the bottom. Then
Right.
you would have the octahedron. It's 2 4-sided pyramids on
Maybe-
right next to each other.
Right. Maybe there's a part, like it's like a, what do you call it? The iceberg, and we can't see the other part of it. I don't understand where he's coming from with this, unless it's no, that's still not 8. I don't know. I don't know.
Well, this could be a 4-sided pyramid that we're only seeing one side of, right? Like if you know
So
what I
there's
mean?
3 sides and then the bottom, but
Well, the other. So if you were standing at the Pyramid of Giza, if you stood right at the middle of one side and then walked backwards and looked back at the pyramid, you would only see the one face of it. But you know that there's the other 3 faces and then also the bottom.
right.
And so we could be seeing this. So, but the thing is, it should also continue on the bottom here.
Right,
where my
that's what I was
cursors are.
saying.
Like it should continue there, and then this would be one side, that would be the other side, and you could have 4 others hidden in profile.
But I mean, if you're going
Right,
to say that, you should show that.
Yeah, and given that I've never seen any of these graphics before, and that it looks like it's this icon up here, and I'm pretty sure this person produced this, what are you doing? You've got skills, my man.
Radar
wrong
coming
place.
from New Zealand or Argentina as well. They're all picking up this radar, this octahedral formation, and they're saying it's where sporadic meteorites are or originating from. However, that's not what it really is. We really have
This guy needs a script also.
Wouldn't help. I mean, wouldn't hurt. Probably wouldn't help either.
You're not wrong. But okay, so we brought up something that I already forgot because it was dumb, and also sporadic meteorites, which have nothing to do
With anything at all, really.
with anything really. Although I guess this is technically a cosmological theory.
Sure.
In some sense, it's a theory of the cosmos, and I guess like meteorites also exist in the cosmos. But like,
You have to
I mean,
explain
this is a log scale. It's,
Mhm.
it's really down. It's way down there.
Yeah, yeah.
an octahedral structure in the center of the Earth. We can also understand that there's 4 equatorial equilibrium points at 90 degrees to each other at the equators in the oceans of the Earth, 90 degrees apart. If you were to take that central octahedron, just play it again there. If you were to take that central octahedron and enlarge it, when you are aligned with the equatorial equilibrium points, the base of that octahedron, in other words, the corners of the base of the octahedron, hitting those equatorial equilibrium points, you would see, as I explained in a previous video, that
You're referring to things that I feel like, based on your words, are supposed to be on the screen. and like,
I mean, that's the whole purpose of a visual aid, right?
I'm doing a better job with my weird little teal cursor here and going and being like, yeah, you've got a pole here and a pole here. I have done more heavy lifting in explaining the graphic on screen than the person who presumably made and definitely included the graphic.
the continental formations,
I'm just saying, if I went into this business, I could clean up.
Would your conscience let you?
No, it wouldn't. But you know what? There's always brain damage.
Hey, Titan's got
very
a proposition
snugly.
for you.
Let's do it.
in each of the quadrants, the triangular quadrants of the octahedron. We have South America fitting perfectly in the center of one of the triangular quadrants of the southern part of the octahedron. We have the southern part of Africa fitting nicely as well. We have Australia fitting nicely. And so that's a good indication, too, that there's a central octahedron. And the way I understood it originally was I was reading Job 38 and realizing that these are the foundations of the earth.
Oh, yeah,
Foundations
Job.
of the earth
These, referring to what?
are
Okay.
actually up in heaven, the earth being
Okay, so
pyramidal
I'm
in
looking
shape.
through,
If you
and it
read
looks
Job
like he does
38, it talks
occasionally
about
bring up other
laying
things.
with measures, laying the cornerstone thereof.
I don't want to
lay the
miss
foundations of the
Fascinating.
earth.
Yeah, I need him to lay the foundation first. I don't want to short circuit this guy because this could be good. This could be good. I
how do
remain
you-
optimistic.
And how could you possibly talk about the foundations of the earth without the Bible?
It's a true fact.
And so it's understanding that this octahedral resonant absorptive antenna is sucking in the energy, the light, sucking in the electrons, and curving the light. There's a magnetic resonance. There's a dielectric inertial plane.
Dielectric inertial plane. Okay, if you've got dielectric inertial plane on your bingo card, that's a steady 0.42 wheelers.
That's why objects on the ground actually weigh slightly less toward the equator. It's not because there's a rotation into the Earth. It's actually because the dielectric inertial plane is actually slightly, very minutely, causing objects to weigh a little bit less, almost like it's a relief in the etheric pressure. So there's less wind at the equator. We call that the intertropic convergence zone, or the doldrums.
Or is he talking about actual wind, or like this? I think he was talking about like a solar electric space electron photon wind.
I don't know how you get weather in this paradigm.
Very carefully.
It's also interesting, it's mentioned in Scripture in the book of Revelation, where there's metaphorically 4 angels at the 4 corners of heaven,
We're actually
holding back
in
the
the
4
inner
winds
earth.
of heaven.
So that's the only space is inside the earth. Just
So he hasn't really gotten to it yet, but we think that like this is clearly Africa, right? And then you got India over here, we got Madagascar. So we think that he's saying that this thing, which is clearly not an octahedron, but which he keeps on calling an octahedron, it's hollow Earth, is inside Earth, and it's also the sun, and it's made of iron, and probably gravity is fake because
oh yeah,
I
because
guess otherwise we'd all get
no, gravity is
drawn into
fake.
the iron thing.
That's like central to every pseudoscience theory of Earth.
But the obvious question I feel like here, which we haven't gotten to, is how does nighttime work? Which I think is even worse for a hollow Earth model than it is for a flat Earth model, and it's pretty bad for a flat Earth model. That
Yeah.
question.
A lot of flat earthers don't understand that they haven't described like nighttime just isn't encompassed in their model. But,
But it's perspective, you guys, because
oh
you
right,
know,
right, perspective.
yeah.
If you understand, at the equator, winds are very mild. And so that's another
Do you mind if I
indication.
increase the speed to like
Yeah.
There's an
1.25?
octahedral formation,
Please.
a magnetic, levitating octahedral formation that's actually calming down the winds in the equatorial zone, in the intertropical zone of the Earth, the convergence zone. So that's another good reason why there's an octahedron in there. Also understanding that magnetite, the most magnetic mineral in all the world, its base crystal habit, its base crystal shape is octahedral in structure. Also understanding crystal field theory. I mentioned before, I made a video about crystal field theory. Crystal field theory, you have your 3 cardinal axes. You've got your X, your Y, and your Z, right?
God.
Yeah.
The 3 axes, they form the third dimension, right? And so your base formation, your base,
It's like,
Wow. He like failed kindergarten.
yeah, but like the books, he's not pulling this all just from like most of the word combinations. And I've pointed out when they really don't work, but most of like the individual word pairs do like mean something. Like there are a finite number. I can't remember the number. It's less than 30, but it's more than 10. Maybe it's 16 or 20 something. Fundamental types of lattice structures in 3-dimensional space. But it's, I don't know. It's, this person feels like a Poe didn't spend enough time.
Poeing.
Yeah, like immersing themselves in the stupid so that they could like fully regurgitate it, because it's not quite like fluid enough. I don't know. I maybe it's just they're tugging at my heartstrings because I'm a shill for the man,
Oh, right,
and
right.
I'm here to keep everybody deceived about the nature of the universe,
Mhm,
so that I can keep getting my check from NASA.
No, that totally tracks.
It's a fair criticism.
structure. Your base platonic solid is an octahedron, as you got those 3 axes intersecting it and
That is one of the
creating 6
Platonic
corners. And
solids.
so in crystal field theory, they call these 6 corners ligands, and they're negatively charged. And these negatively charged ligands are converging toward the center. And the center is positively charged. And so when they converge, they expand and they create a
I don't know if the word
sphere,
ligand is a real
bubble,
thing.
the octahedron.
Okay.
So that's why we have a spherical celestial sphere. That's why we have a spherical Earth. That's why we have spherical concentric glass bubbles in between. It all has to do with the foundations of the Earth, the octahedral crystal field foundations of the Earth. That's why there's an octahedron in the center.
Yeah, that makes
So
sense.
on the northern side of that
Fundamentally,
octahedron,
we've got an octahedron, so
we
therefore
have the
everything's a
illuminated
sphere.
side, and then the
I
southern
have
side
yet
is
to
the
see an
darkened side.
octahedron.
So we have light and dark.
I have yet to see an octahedron.
Yeah, no, me
There's a
too.
separation there as
But
well,
you know,
Scripture talks
Sherry.
about that too. There's a separation between day and night in the Earth as well. So it's the power of duality as well working. And so on the northern side, at the top, we have the apex there. That's the eye of the pyramid. That's a physical structure. That's not just this Illuminati ambiguous concept. They're deriving their symbolism from an actual physical structure because they understand that it is the object of power. That is the source of power. The
it's one of
source
the
of
Deathly
light.
Hallows.
The eye at the top of the pyramid is a real place inside heaven. And so they
Wait,
have
okay,
this knowledge
hold
of it.
on. So the top of the pyramid is the eye of the octahedron, and it's a real place inside heaven. So heaven is inside the sun?
Apparently.
Scripture says that the sons of God shouted for joy when
It's really
It's really
there.
there.
It's really there, Maya.
The cornerstone was laid. And that apex was laid on top when the foundations of the earth were built. The sons of God. It also says that the sons of God are the Nephilim, or the fallen angels. So they imparted knowledge about the earth, about the shape of the earth. This is knowledge. Who can make straight that which God has made crooked or curved? It's the same meaning. So we have this interesting, exquisite display of how things really work. It's actually rather simple to understand as well, compared to a vast, wide, endless universe which has no form, which has no meaning, which has no structure, which has no continuity. It has no reason. But here we have reason. We have a foundational structure.
This is the part I never understand. How is an octahedron more reasonable or sensible or absolute? Like, why is a finite thing, why does that make more sense than an infinite thing? I don't expect this guy to have answers,
Yeah,
but I can ask.
I believe it has something to do with the smoothness of his brain.
Yeah, it's probably shiny in there.
We can apply logic and reason to it, and we can understand that light does definitely bend. Light bends. Light self-bends. It's even been proven by physicists.
Bro,
Light beams.
you're not allowed to cite physicists.
There was a study that was put out by
Wilhelm Martin.
Okay. Also, there's like weird audio things going on here. It's
Yeah,
hard
I
to tell
know.
like when, right?
Wilhelm Martin, this geodesist, which showed that the light curves up away from the Earth.
Here's your spotlight sun.
Yeah. So we got the spotlight sun, and let me do some.
I
Yeah.
still
Oh,
haven't.
look, it's
much
got,
like
we got
flat
a smiley
earthers.
face here.
Oh yeah.
A smiley
My-
face with the
Well,
smile.
much like
and the
flat
human eyes.
earthers, I still don't understand seasons.
Oh, it spirals up and then it spirals down, and it zooms in and out.
That
Right.
accounts for seasons.
Yeah, don't worry about it. It's fine.
It's fine.
So the curvature of our side, of our trajectory of side, is curved more than the Earth. It's curved more than the
See?
actual curvature.
It's going
of the
down now.
That's true. Well, that's not only
See?
Wilhelm Martin with theodolites, but any
This is
land
the
surveyor
line.
with a theodolite is already measuring the upward bending of the light without even realizing it, because most of them are under the presupposition that the Earth is convex round, not understanding that light is actually bending upward. It's bending more than the curvature of the Earth, and so that's what they fail to understand.
What? I need a diagram. Will he give me a
That's why
diagram?
I told
No,
land surveyor
this
Jesse
is
Kozlowski, you
the
need to
big
show me
blade. This is
your cardinal
you know.
direction zenith angle
This is a
test,
big
because I have a sneaky suspicion there that you're going to get different deviations of that upward bending of the light depending on which direction you're facing. If you're facing toward that, if you're pointing that theodolite toward the sun, you're going to get a greater deviation of light, and so that right there should tell you something. That should raise a red flag about your presupposition there. But there has been studies, scientific studies, the physical review letters. One article is called Non-Diffracting Accelerating Wave Packets of Maxwell's Equations, where they talk about presenting non-diffracting spatial accelerating solutions of the Maxwell's equations, such beams accelerating in a circular trajectory, thus generalizing the concept of airy beams to the full domain of the wave equation. The beams exhibit shape-preserving bending, which can have sub-wavelength features. And the pointing vector of the main lobe displays a turn of more than 90 degrees. And so, I know
Okay, so everything he's saying there in the last like 20 seconds sounds real and sounds interesting and cool
But does it?
from the perspective of like optical physics, and doesn't in any sense mean what he thinks it means. It means that you can have weird you can have like a laser beam that has like a vortex in it, and that's not like a fake thing. It sounds like a fake thing because most of the time on the internet when people use the word vortex, the person using that word has an extremely smooth brain, but they are like vortex singularities are real things that occur in wave functions and whatnot.
But do they occur in inner Earths?
Not like this. There's a lot of quantum mechanics stuff happening in Earth, so I'm sure there's vortex and singularities all over the damn place. But a full three-dimensional airy beam solution to Maxwell's equations or whatever is, I don't even know what it's supposed to be applying to. It's supposed to be applying to how light curves away from the Earth, but what? Like, it does, no, I
It
need a
answers no
diagram,
questions.
bro.
Yeah.
this is kind of techie. This is why I was just reading here, but light self-bends. Light, there's interference patterns going on with light.
Yeah, but light doesn't just like go in a direction and then like turn
Of
without
its own volition, yeah.
on it, just like on its own without there being something about the physical system as a whole that explains that, right? Like it light doesn't just turn around like this. The fields will rotate. You'll have, I mean, circularly polarized light is very much a thing. And if you were to sit there and follow the electric field, instead of going oscillating like this, it oscillates like this.
Okay.
And that's a real thing. It sort of corkscrews through.
Okay. Let's see if you
Especially these
can bring
interference
it up.
patterns going on, emanating from the octahedron. And it's just creating this
Well, there's our friend the octahedron again.
bending
Okay.
of the light.
I keep
If you
saying
look
that.
at the radiation patterns of a dipole antenna.
Okay. And we've got
I
sort of a
explained it
dipole
previously
here.
Before.
Vaguely.
That's what's happening, where the light is bending more so than the actual curvature of the Earth. And you can even actually go out and measure the apparent curvature of the Earth, thinking that the light is actually straight and you're looking at a convex ball, and get virtually the same calculated radius of the Earth, like that Cody guy did, because of the way that the light bends in both directions.
No, you
upward.
couldn't.
And so it's going to give you
No, you couldn't. No, you couldn't. You simply couldn't. That's not how light works.
the
We'd have to be living in like a weird, like soupy fishbowl with like air that dramatically changed its index of refraction as you went up, in ways that do not make any sense.
estimated virtually pretty close to the same radius if you were to think the light was straight and you were living on a convex ball. The horizon does descend as you get higher and higher in an airplane, in a high altitude air balloon. It will descend because it doesn't mean that the Earth is bending down. It just means that the light is bending up more. And so that light at the edge of the horizon is going to bend up more, but it always bends back to the center.
Oh, okay. I think I actually managed to figure out a way of slightly steel manning what he's saying. So you see this cone thing here?
Sure.
Right there. So imagine that's pointing over here at like Somalia or something, right?
Okay.
If you're here, then you're seeing light from mostly like if this light actually, let's just imagine it's pointing right here because then it's easier. If you're here and you're on the ground, then you're seeing light from sort of this whole cone, right?
Right.
It's coming from all those directions. But then if you go up here, now you're only seeing light from this cone,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
And that's going to look like a little slice, a little circle of the Earth, and it gets smaller as you go up because you're sort of, the light is magically, okay, this is
Okay.
magic.
This is all magic. Okay, gotcha.
This is all magic, but like it's magic where it's magic geometry, but once you have magic geometry, like I'm willing to talk about the consequences. If you give me a model, I'm willing to talk about what the model predicts. It's when you don't give me a model at all that I die a little bit inside. And
Jordan talks about a lot of magic geometry.
yeah, and he never gives any models, like at all.
We have this working model. We have the moon. I show the phases of the moon. Each day is, I got 10 frames per day, so 1 second is 3 days. But you see the moon is, if the moon was operating in real time, we'd have that moon rotating in the other direction. But as you see here, it's rotating clockwise. And that's because I froze the sun. I froze the phase angle, or the right ascension. Now, when I talk about right ascension, I'm talking about east to west movement of celestial objects, like the sun, or like the planets, or like the moon. So the right ascension, as opposed to the declination.
Okay,
the
so is this actually related to what's on the screen right now? I regret to inform you, Maya, and the audience that ascension, declination, all of these things are real things that explain where stuff is, like in the sky, and I don't actually know specifically like what each one is. So,
Right. You're not an astrophysicist.
I never actually took a course in astronomy or in star, like.
Nor I.
I don't know when you actually start to learn that, because I don't think like a basic astronomy 101 course, I don't think you're doing a whole lot of like ascension, declination of the because you're dealing with multiple spherical coordinate systems that you need to transform between, and it's a lot of three-dimensional thinking. It's hard for almost anybody.
Right, but you're thinking like too linearly, right? You're thinking about shit that actually happens. Now, like, let's just take your.
I have no choice, Maya. I'm limited by my interactions with reality.
Basic physics. I know you know about that, and put all of that inside.
Oh, and chuck it.
Inside, yeah. Well, that too, but like inside the Earth, though, because like this doesn't take an astrophysicist to figure out, right? This is a moron. We can.
Yeah,
do
I mean,
this.
it's. I see what you're saying. It's like if you take like a wolf and a dog and a potato, and you ask a 5-year-old which one's different, it's going to say the potato. Okay, so this is the 5-year-old's conception of the universe.
Yeah, it's astrophysics.
That's fair.
For 5-year-old idiots.
Yep.
declination is going to be the north-south angle. So you see at the bottom of the screen there, you see the declination of the sun. You see the declination of the moon. And you have the dates there. And then you have the little dial on the animation showing the actual numbers of degrees in which the angles decline. And so we have Jason and chatting, Jason. And so you will understand in the summertime, at the summer solstice, June 21st, that sun is going to be way up high at its extremity at 23.4 something degrees.
Yep.
And what I explained in the description of this video is that if you take a spring or you take a cylindrical orbit of something and it has acceleration and deceleration at the extremities, you're going to get a slowing down and then a gradual acceleration as it goes the other way.
A cylindrical orbit of what? And it's going to be doing what at the extremities? What slowing down?
And that
Well, I was
matches
about to ask you
perfectly
that.
how-
I mean, I wasn't really asking you that. I was asking reality that.
Yeah, I know,
guess.
but like, I was going to
Or
ask
I
you.
guess-
I was hoping you would answer that question because I don't.
Well, it's possible. It's possible that I will be able to hack together something more than
So-
entirely incoherent.
I'm sorry, I'm eating.
I feel like I'm
Andrew.
doing this guy's work for him, though.
But okay, so does the sun slow down? Is that what he's saying? Or does the spotlight that circles the sun so that we can see night and day, does that slow down?
I don't know what he's saying yet. I don't know what's orbiting cylindrically. I don't know what a cylindrical. Oh, okay. Yeah, no. Okay, so let me.
a
I
gradual
figured it out.
acceleration as it goes the other way. And that matches perfectly
So
solutions of the Maxwell's
this,
equation.
the spotlight here
Mhm.
is going around up here, and it's going around down here, and it sort of like traces out a cylinder, except it doesn't because it's on a sphere. But like, if we forget that fact, then maybe.
And then a gradual acceleration as it goes the other way. And that matches perfectly of how
It's like
the sun operates in the earth. And in Job 38, they call it the day spring. The day spring.
that's
Have you commanded the day spring? Right?
What?
There's a reason why we call it the day spring, because it acts like
Nobody
a
says
spring.
that.
It's turned as clay to the seal. Clay to the seal. Well, in
What
ancient
is that?
times, they had clay seals.
Hey,
that were cylindrical.
Did you see it?
Because it acts
No.
like a spring.
This is
Oh!
this is a tetrahedron.
Holy
It's
shit!
turned as clay.
Finally!
Octahedron.
Yeah,
to
yeah.
the seal. Clay to the seal. Well, in ancient times, they had clay seals that were cylindrical to seal documents with. So we have this analogy, this metaphor of the sun operating as a day spring and turning cylindrically like a clay seal. It matches perfectly if you understand what to look for.
I don't understand what
There
he's
was a
talking
thing on
about.
the screen that said the Foucault pendulum proves the Earth doesn't spin. That is the opposite of what the Foucault pendulum does. It proves that it does spin.
Your foundations are correct. And so we have the day spring, knowing its place, turned as clay to the seal. This is how we get the seasons. When the sun is at 0 degrees declination, that's at the equinox, the spring equinox and the fall equinox. March 20th, September 22nd. And then, of course, when the sun is at its lowest declination angle, minus 23.4, we get the winter solstice. So it's perfectly operating like a spring with acceleration and deceleration. And then, of course, we have that eclipse.
A lot of things operate kind of like springs. It's decomposing things into periodic motion is like a tried and true, extremely fruitful path towards analyzing like all physical phenomena. And if you can decompose it into sine waves are how springs work. So basically everything is little masses on springs. And this, like, when I took quantum field theory, I came out of my quantum field theory class being like, okay, well, now I'm just convinced physicists understand exactly one system, and it's the harmonic oscillator, which is a mass on a spring, and we just copy and paste that everywhere. And it works stunningly well.
We see that diagonal line going circumscribing the celestial sphere.
I apparently I have to go to bed now, though, because Germania said that whoever read the statement had to go to bed. So yeah.
Hey,
No, I'm
hey,
just
hey, hey, hey. Don't leave me here with this.
The planets all in the vicinity of the ecliptic. That's because there's a magnetic pole there. You see Venus, Mars, Mercury, Uranus, Neptune, they're all aligned to the ecliptic.
okay.
So we have structure here. We have reason. It's not just not this haphazard elliptical orbits in the heliocentric model that makes.
Those aren't just haphazard. There's so much beautiful structure there. How
Wait,
orbital
why?
resonances are like a real thing. The moons of Galileo, the Galilean moons, have this amazing resonant relationship in their orbits that was known way back then. It's just because things aren't circles doesn't mean they're dirty or sullied. reality is as reality does.
Makes no sense. We have order. We have structure. These planets are behind glass, and in astronomy, you can actually still understand that they are behind glass by picking up chromatic aberration with reflector telescopes, as opposed to refractor telescopes. In the old days, they had refractor.
You're not gonna what? Chromatic aberration is caused by the fact that light bends at different angles going through a lens. It's not really a thing in reflector telescopes, only in refractor. The opposite of what he said. I'm like, does anybody in chat
like,
know anything about that?
Yeah, I know. If anybody knows
Refractor
anything
telescopes
about
made with glass.
astrophysics
They
and
had
wants
glass
to jump
lenses
in,
and telescopes.
let me know.
The problem with those refractor telescopes is that they would exhibit chromatic aberration.
Oh, okay.
There would be a shifting of the colors.
Yes,
You get
that's
the red
correct.
fringing on one side.
And it's because it's just like a lens is just kind of like a prism that you loop around on itself and then you make the middle round, right? So red light and green light will go through it differently, and you need to account for that when you design lens systems and whatnot.
Side, you get the violet fringing on the other side, and so they replaced most of those refractor telescopes with reflector telescopes. So instead of refracting through glass with a telescope, we have a mirror in the bottom of these reflector telescopes, which reflects the light, and so it's not going through this glass lens. However, this is one thing that modern astronomy fails to acknowledge, that if you just go on YouTube, you just find some amateur shots of planets, let's say Saturn or Jupiter or Mars, with reflector telescopes that are supposedly not going to pick up chromatic aberration. What do we see? We still see the fringing, the chromatic aberration fringing of the planets. That's one good indication that there's glass in the heavens, so they cannot
Or there's glass in the eyepiece.
eliminate all of the chromatic aberration with some of these reflector telescopes. And so because these planets are behind glass, they're actually fooling your eye with refraction. They're giving you a greater range in apparent diameter, in apparent angular diameter. You're thinking that, wow, their apogee and their perigee, their apogee means the farthest distance away from you, so it would appear the smallest, and the perigee means the closest distance to you, so it would appear the largest. They're thinking that by viewing their apogee and their perigee, and by measuring their angular diameter, which is measured in degrees, minutes, and seconds, they're thinking, well, yeah, there's got to be a great distance between the apogee and the perigee, not even understanding that these planets are actually behind a glass or a couple glass spheres that are playing tricks with the eye, that are increasing the refractive index. And so in all actuality, in real physics.
So, like, but where are they, though? Like, physically, where are they?
In the sky.
Where is the sky?
Up.
Where is the other side of the planet?
Up?
Yeah, are you seeing my problem?
Yeah. Well, we can't see it because sun, I guess. I don't know.
But
something about like refracting and back.
Are there
to
giant,
us.
like how?
Like the dome is in like a bunch of different glass, and so are the stars and shit. So like it's like reflecting it back to us so that it looks like a dome instead of a glass bubble.
I guess.
Perspective.
And because of those stars getting hot and clustering together and melting through, and the water came down, and I mentioned
Wait, hold on.
refracting objects, that is causing these little caustic anomalies to be displayed, because that central celestial sphere was damaged after the flood. There's water on the inside surface of that celestial sphere. And so during the time of the flood, when it says the windows
Okay, so these spheres had water, and then God broke the windows.
Yes.
of heaven were opened, they literally were opened because of those stars getting hot and clustering together and melting through.
The stars melted through the glass firmament, which caused all the water to fall down onto Earth.
Well, it makes sense because the stars are in the glass firmament. And,
how do they why are the stars hot?
They got too hot.
But why? Why are they hot?
Because they're stars, and that's what stars do?
I mean, I'm okay with that, but I know how stars work, sort of. Okay, he thinks that the sun is a chunk of metal. I doubt he thinks that the sun and stars are fundamentally the same thing.
Stars are hot lights that sometimes break the firmament and drown us all.
Maybe stars are little like jewels that like God made in an oven, and they're still really hot.
Mm-hmm.
And he took them out and he sort of scattered them, and some of them caused Noah's flood.
Well, now the Bible says that God placed the stars in the sky, or firmament, which I think is sky. So that still tracks.
Yeah.
And the water came down, and I mentioned before that there was sand at the bottom of the celestial sea that also came down as well. That sand also fused and created these glass concentric spheres after the flood. So we have this going on here. We have when it healed back together.
I would like to know how the water from the flood got back into the firmament, though. Because like on a flat Earth, you could just have like it came from the deep, and so like it actually drained. I don't know how it gets back into a bubble firmament, though.
Yeah, I was gonna say if the whole thing is spinning, maybe centrifugal force just pushes it out. But I thought he said it wasn't spinning.
No, it's not. We just think that.
Yeah. Okay. Also, why gravity?
Did he say gravity?
No. I'm just asking why gravity. Like what gravity? How gravity? Why gravity?
I don't think gravity is a thing in this universe. I'd be shocked. I could be wrong, but they don't like
Okay.
gravity.
Why do things go down, down?
Oh, he
Here,
said
healed back
he
together.
mentioned that. Oh, I forgot what he
Is
said
is it electric static repulsion or something?
or something.
It wasn't a nice, smooth, even surface no longer. It was damaged. It was bumpy. And so that bumpy surface is exhibited when we look at the galaxies and we look at the nebula and we look at quasars. There's going to be these caustic artifacts that are products of the bumpy glass surface and the light being diffracted, displaced, just like looking through a cut glass goblet, as Lawrence Krauss will say. It's not gravity causing mass to bend. That's not what it is. It's just simply looking through the stars through glass, looking at the stars through glass, just like Stone Sour talks about in their song. The stars are lying. We're looking at them through the glass.
Yeah,
It's very simple to understand that.
it's just so simple.
And so that, well, going back
We got some of the spheres here, I guess. I wonder which sphere the stars are in.
One of them, certainly.
to that bulge that's in front of the sun, that bulge will, wherever the sun goes, wherever the sun traverses inside its own glass sphere there, it's going to bulge just the area in front of the sun. And so the area that gets bulged out, but the sun leaves, that area will go back to its normal state.
I didn't catch
guess-
any of that.
The sun goes around inside a glass sphere, and the glass bulges out when the sun gets near it, because I guess it gets hot or something. I don't know.
And so that bulging is going to create the refraction that we pick up with star displacement when we look at eclipses. Because, when you see a total solar eclipse, that moon is eclipsing the sunlight, and you're able to pick up the background stars. Well, today we can do that also with chronographs. You just put a mask or a blocking filter in front of the sun, you can pick up the background stars. And you will see that there is a displacement there, meaning what I just told you. It's the actual glass with the refraction involved that is actually making those stars to appear.
So now I think he's arguing that the bending of light that we see around the sun, that's due to the sun's gravity, is due to the bulging of the glass thing, which I guess is really malleable.
Sounds like. Which I guess
Yeah, different.
if it's glass and you heat it, yeah, it gets malleable. I mean,
Yeah, it also glows though.
Decisions. And they will
That's how
But-
hot things work. Hot things tend to glow.
but not firmaments because God.
Yeah, indeed. I forgot about God.
call that gravitational lensing. But it's not gravitational lensing because gravity is a fictitious force anyway. The real force is the ether force. The ether, the universal compression, permeates the inside of the Earth. That's why we have pressure gradients. It's not because of gravity. They'll try to say, well, you're inside a container. Container doesn't have pressure gradients. Well, you're comparing a small little container to something that's macroscopically, exponentially much bigger. It's like comparing a poppy seed to a watermelon. You can't do that. You cannot compare the pressure gradient that we exhibit because of the ether to something much, much smaller on a microscopic level. So we have these pressure gradients because of the ether. The ether force is a centrifugal force.
Okay.
The divergent centrifugal ether force. It doesn't mean that the Earth is spinning. It's, like in the carnival. You ever go to the carnival ride, the gravitron, where you're stuck to the inside concave surface as it spins? Well, this is not what's happening. We're not spinning, but the ether force inside the Earth is spinning centrifugally. And so that force is
spinning?
compressing.
Whee.
Also, as well, is increasing density as the lower you get.
Whoa,
It's
hold
got
on.
more
I just went around in a circle and got a little dizzy, and everything is making more sense.
Wait,
This,
what?
This might be the key. If I just spin around and make myself really disoriented, then suddenly it all starts to make sense.
Do you spin around with like tequila or?
No, I spin. Whee. And it makes me dizzy, So probably alcohol and drugs would help.
I like the way you think.
So we have these pressure gradients because of the ether. The ether force is a centrifugal force.
Okay.
The divergent centrifugal ether force. It doesn't mean that the Earth is spinning. It's, like in the carnival. You ever go to the carnival ride, the gravitron, where you're stuck to the inside concave surface as it spins? Well, this is not what's happening. We're not spinning, but the ether force inside the Earth is spinning centrifugally. And so that force is
spinning?
compressing.
Whee.
Also, as well, is increasing density as the lower you get.
Whoa,
So
hold
it's
on.
more
I just went around in a circle and got a little dizzy, and everything is making more sense.
Wait,
This-
what?
This might be the key. If I just spin around and make myself really disoriented, then suddenly it all starts to make sense.
Do you spin around with like tequila or?
No, I spin. Whee. And it makes me dizzy, So probably alcohol and drugs would help.
I like the way you think.
I don't have any though.
Nothing? Wow, it's a rough life.
So it's pulling us toward the ground. It's pushing us to the ground.
What is
And
this?
so
We got
it's
a little,
ether. It's spinning, has been
little
detected.
Kerbal Space Program dude here.
You can detect see, the big experiment that everybody likes to talk about. Some people, the geocentrists, will say that this experiment proves that the Earth is motionless.
This should have been the graphic that he started with. This is way more clear about,
I mean, I still
about like
don't.
what it's.
I still don't see the
No,
octa.
yeah, it's still not an octahedron. It's a tetrahedron, I guess.
Or the heliocentrists
like-
will say, well, this
But we've got the sun spotlight here,
Yeah.
and we've got the little cable going back to the
Heaven.
command center, the Illuminati command center in heaven.
Exactly.
proves that there's no ether.
There's
Well,
no.
obviously,
okay.
that's the Michelson-Morley experiment that was done in Ohio a long time ago. But this interferometer that they had was in a basement. It was behind wood, and so there was obstructions to the ether. And what they will fail to tell you is that it wasn't a null result. It was actually slightly positive, meaning that there was a slight detectable ether in that experiment. But another problem with that is that Michelson and Morley actually claimed or stated that they were going to conduct at least 3 more experiments in addition to that initial one.
I think they did conduct further, more careful measurements with the same sort of type of apparatus, but I think there were different sort of versions of it. It's a hard experiment considering that they didn't have lasers back then.
And they never did. Why didn't they do that? Another thing too is there was a man named
Probably
Dayton Miller.
funding.
Dayton Miller was a contemporary of Michelson Morley. Dayton Miller built a much more sophisticated interferometer, much bigger at a higher altitude. It wasn't in a basement locked up. The ether wasn't being obstructed basically, and it was done under the most strict conditions. Everything was
Script would help.
scrutinized, and he did detect there was an ether drift that was permeating the Earth. I mean,
If it can permeate the Earth, it's going to be able to permeate the building the thing was in,
Shit.
right? I need to go like refill my water. Can I take like a 5-minute break?
Yeah.
Are you able to entertain our audience in the
Yeah,
meantime?
I shall entertain them with jokes and tricks.
know,
Go,
they
go,
changed their
go,
mind.
go.
I'll be
go
right
talk-
back.
All my friends are here. I'll go talk to people. What's going on, everybody? This would be the ideal time to play the ukulele. This or learn. Wouldn't it be a fun time to learn for me to learn in front of all of my friends how to play the ukulele?
I'm back.
Hi. We're just going into some Nazi propaganda.
What kind of channel is this?
hello,
Whoa.
you got somebody here?
No, that was my mom.
Okay,
That was his mom.
hello.
I have no idea what's happening.
So we have an ether. Hello. Explains everything that you think gravity explains, but the ether explains it better. They have what they call the Cavendish experiment, where they think that
Yep, you
these
went
two
through
balls
this.
are being attracted by their masses
Oh wait, no, you went through the mic.
because of gravity. Well, no, that's not the case. There's a universal compression force, an ether force,
Is it mass
and these balls are
dependent?
simply obstructing the ether, and they are displacing the balls. There's also the Foucault pendulum. They think that the Foucault pendulum proves that there's a rotation to the Earth. Well, no. Back in the
Just no. It's stunning how easy it is for people to just say, oh, all of these people think that this experiment proves this one thing, and even though this experiment is many, many decades old now and has been performed again in various other situations, and even though the models for the phenomena that the experiment is trying to elucidate have grown and fundamentally changed, we do not have the same theory of gravity as we did when Cavendish did his experiment. Our idea of gravity is totally different now.
Right.
And yet, just know, as though it didn't occur to us that, I don't know, I'm so glad that I learned the word ultra-crepidarian, because that's what this is, and it's so pervasive, and it bothers me so much, because, like, you care about expertise normally. Most sane people do, right? Like, if most people, they need surgery to repair an internal hemorrhage that they got in a car accident, for example, most of them are going to want a surgeon to do that, as opposed to some guy on the internet that doesn't think blood is real. And that's like the equivalent. Or who operates under I learned it from you, Titan. I learned it from you, okay? You want credit.
Learn it from you, Dad. I'm sorry, it was 80s throwback.
But yeah, it's just no.
Just
In
no.
the 1950s, there was a man named Maurice Elias who did extensive study with pendulums during eclipses, and he found very interesting anomalous movements to these pendulums while this total solar eclipse is happening. Meaning that what connection is there between a total solar eclipse and the rotation of the Earth? If there is a rotation of the Earth, it makes no sense.
I've never heard of such an experiment. It
Wait.
sounds like somebody.
He said that if the Earth rotates, a solar eclipse makes no sense.
No, so I don't really know what the Earth rotation has to do with his previous point. I'm just sort of by default trying to sort of steelman his previous point, which I think was that if you do like a careful pendulum measurement during a total solar eclipse, it behaves different than when the sun is not eclipsed. I've never heard of that before. There is a certain sense in which that'll be true in some sense, because how a pendulum moves is going to matter to some degree, infinitesimally small, okay, of the positions of like the planets and whatnot.
Okay.
But I've never heard of that. It sounds like the sort of experiment that somebody looking to prove some woo might do, because there's no reason for it to have, such an effect. And it would be you have to do those experiments really carefully. They're tough. They're tough to do.
Yeah.
You need very careful measuring devices, because friction is a bitch, and it shows up in these things all the time.
It's got to be another force that's perpetuating the pendulum, and that is the ether force. And so when the moon obstructed the sun, it changed the way that the ether was hitting the Earth. There was a disruption, there was a disturbance
Okay, can you get...
within ether when the eclipse happened. So that's another good indication,
I want
too.
math. Does this
They'll
guy
talk
give me
about
math?
bullet trajectories.
I promised you
ballistics.
numbers.
They will think that because of the rotation of the Earth, if you shoot a bullet toward the west, that bullet is going to sink more than if you shoot it toward the east. The bullet is going to rise more.
That's true. It's called the Oedipus
Well, that's the
effect.
way we have the ether force moving within the Earth. It's going from east to west, and it's creating a depression toward the west. That's why it's easier to fly an airplane eastward than it is to fly it westward. You're going to get that rise. You're going to get that lift. It's going to be easy. You're going to spend less fuel going eastward than you are going westward. It's not because there's a rotation to the Earth. It's because of that ether force. In all actuality, there was a YouTube video that this man took a rifle and he shot a bullet westward, and he recorded his results. And I think he shot at least 3 bullets. The target was about a mile away. And the bullets sank toward the west, anywhere from 8 inches to 12 inches lower than the target. However, when he shot it toward the east, it didn't rise 8 to 10 inches. It only rose like 3 inches, 4 inches. One bullet hit it right on. It was no rise at all. So if you were to think that it's because of the rotation of the Earth, you would think that you get an equal rise eastward as you're sinking westward, but that's not the case. It's the ether force. It's moving within the Earth.
I mean,
ether is present. That's why we have...
did he do that test indoors? If not, I'll bet there was wind and stuff,
I bet
These
it
forces
didn't
are blue.
happen, but whatever.
Yeah, no, well, because I mean, I've seen YouTube videos where people perform that test and they get results that confirm the predictions that like it does rise and like fall equally. But you need a huge super flat area, and you have to do it when the wind along that whole area is calm.
Oof.
Easier said than done, because you're shooting a rifle in a far enough distance to measure the curvature, the effect of the rotation actually in this case of the Earth. It's the effect of the differential net sort of circular acceleration, because you either add or subtract the rifle speed from the bullet speed from the tangential speed of the Earth at that point, which is somewhat substantial. So
Oh yeah, but I've seen a flat earther jump up and down on a train to disprove whatever the fuck he was trying to disprove.
probably the thing that he was proving.
Right. No.
He was probably
absolutely.
being like, okay, then planes should just fly at thousands of miles an hour, and it's like you're literally doing the thing that explains why that doesn't happen, bro.
Yeah. No. Yeah. That's exactly. It was a Simandan video, and I can't remember what it was he was trying to disprove. Something with gravity, I'm sure. I've seen flat earthers do shit like this, and they never do it correctly. So flat earther, concave earther, it doesn't really matter. I'm pretty sure it either one didn't happen or two, like you said, he fucked it up.
Yeah.
So going back to my model, we see the sun emanating its light on the left.
I thought he said going back to his mom. No, it's going back to his model.
Model,
One
yes.
half of the Earth at one time. But that curved light is going to begin to angle back up toward the center again, right?
Yeah.
And it's going to hit the back. It's going to hit the anti-solar point. There's going to be this funnel-shaped area that you see on the right there. That's where we're going to have a convergence zone. So that funnel-shaped area there's going to be a void area. See, so when the moon goes through that void area, it gets eclipsed. That's where the heliocentrists will think that it's the shadow of the Earth eclipsing the moon. However, when a lunar eclipse happens, it turns.
That's at least coherent. It's better than I've heard the flat earthers try.
No, it's better than any flat Earth model. I mean, at least it is the
Right?
moon coming in front of the sun, and
It's
not
it's rendered competently.
right.
It's rendered.
Right.
It exists for me to criticize.
I'm still not understanding lunar Earths. Maybe he'll get to that, but whatever.
It's red. It turns kind of orangey, right? A dark orangey red, pretty much. They will tell you that it's because of the atmosphere of the Earth that's casting the redness upon the moon from a 238,000 mile distance.
They're saying that that's why this guy looks orange? Or did I miss? I don't care.
Well, no, I mean, if you understand how light actually gets dispersed, you understand that out of all the colors of the spectrum, red is going to bend the least. It's going to refract the least. And so if the sunlight is hitting the Earth, and it's bending around back, and then it's causing this reddening, the reddening would be the color on the outside. You would think that you would get a violet color in that eclipse zone. You would think that the moon would be violet if it was eclipsed by the shadow of a 238,000 mile distant Earth. But that's not what we see.
Okay, so he's got these different planes going around talking about how because they fly at an angle of attack kind of like this,
Mhm.
which they do to like push air down,
Mhm.
you push stuff down, you go up a little. It's how physics works. And he's saying that what that means is they actually have to like fly up because they're going around a concave sort of thing.
Right.
2 miles in altitude every minute. Okay.
We see red because of the dispersion of the glass. So the glass is picking up this chromatic dispersion, and since red is bending the least, it's going to flood that area. But once it goes past that area and goes into the other glass sphere, that light converges and it gets brighter. There's a bright spot on the antisolar region of the celestial sphere. So wherever the sun goes, the exact opposite side of the sun, there's a bright spot. That bright spot is called the Gegenschein. It has a
The Gegenschein.
He just made that up.
I don't know.
name for it. It's identifiable. It's very faint. That bright spot is called the Gegenschein. It has a name for it. It's identifiable. It's very faint, but you can still pick it up in the night skies if you're at a very high altitude. And so this Gegenschein is a telltale sign that we have this convergence of light.
I don't
The
even know what to
heliocentric
do with this
answer is that, well,
information.
Hold on. I think I might know what he's talking
probably
about.
due to
Let me
planetary
check
dust.
something.
Interplanetary dust. Problem with that is that they can't pick up any Gegenscheins on other planets, on Mars, Jupiter, Saturn. Here. No, just Earth has the Gegenschein. Interesting. Makes much more sense to understand. It is the way I explained it there, where we have this nonlinear surge.
Oh, it's interesting. Okay, so if you're if you're out in space, or it's a very, very, very clear night, and you live in parts of the world where they have really nice telescopes and whatnot, then you'll actually, if you look away, directly away from the sun, if the sun's behind you and you look directly away from it, you'll see a sort of faint glow,
Okay.
and it sort of tracks with the sun behind you.
Okay.
And what it is it's backscattered light from the sun off of the very little faint bits of like dust and stuff that there still is, even in space.
Okay.
And so that's what Gegenschein is. See,
Ah.
like I learned something. I didn't know that word.
No, I didn't think
And
it was a
I-
word. But yeah, thanks, Pragmatic Crystal, because today I learned. I wouldn't even know how to Google it because.
Oh no, I didn't even see that. I didn't even see that Pragmatic Crystal had posted that. I had Googled that
Okay.
and spelled it wrong, but Google
Yeah,
knew what I was
yeah.
trying to get at.
No, yeah, you have to get into like the vicinity for Google to be able to pull up a definition for you, and I didn't even know where to start. Like G.
surge of illumination happening at the antisolar region. There's an effect called
There's like a sun don't shine joke somewhere here. I don't know.
oppositional surge, where they will observe the moon, Mars, planets at the antisolar region experiencing a non-linear surge of illumination at a very narrow phase angle. When I say
Oh
phase
yeah,
angle, I'm talking about the
that's
heliocentric
coherent backscattering.
east to west angle.
Yeah, that's probably part of what forms Gegenschein. But coherent backscattering is at angles like directly back. Like it's a very, very faint bit of thing that goes back. You have constructive quantum interference between a photon scattering off of atom A and then atom B and then atom C and then back off atom A maybe.
Mm-hmm.
That will add constructively with if it started at A, went to C, went to B, and then went back to A. And so those two wave functions will constructively interfere and send the photon exactly backwards where it came from. That is actually a phenomenon that I my very first experience in a lab doing cold atom stuff in undergrad was to try and measure that effect in ultra cold atoms. So
this narrow, non-linear surge of illumination is really only explainable how I explain it here, where that area is flooded,
just
where that
explained it.
light is bending around back, and it's flooding that area. That's why a full moon looks so much brighter. You know, the surface of the moon looks so much brighter than when it's at first quarter or third quarter. Now, the heliocentrists will
That's
say, well,
also
that's
for
the
other
opposite surge is
reasons.
happening because, well, there's
Yeah.
certain, there's pits and valleys to planets, and they create
Yeah.
shadows, and so when the sun is illuminating the planet straight on, it's hiding the shadows basically, so you're getting more sunlight. Well, gee, that's not.
No, the moon, the dust on the moon is actually apparently it's really quite dark.
Yeah.
Dapper told me the other day how dark it actually was, and I think it was him or somebody, and I was like, "What? It's dark.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like a dark gray, almost a light black sort of thing, apparently, which it doesn't look that dark to me." And I kind of wonder if he might have been exaggerating, because it doesn't look that dark in comparison to the astronauts' suits, and those aren't very dark.
I know, no, but I mean, I know the moon is supposedly like dark, like the dust is dark, not
Yeah,
like, I mean,
yeah, it's not like white, like
no, it's not white. Yeah.
It's not like
And it's
bright
not the
white,
color
I
it
guess.
appears. I mean, that's like the fucking sun illuminating it. But yeah,
Yeah,
it doesn't
yeah,
really have much
and-
of a, but it would look white because you have just, I mean, all we see is sunlight
everything
bouncing
else
off
is-
of it. And
yeah,
it's
and everything
pretty
else is
uniform.
black.
So and it's not like a color, like, in, I mean, whether like, it's like
It's like
most
dust,
of the,
and
most of
and
the
dust
illumination
has-
we're seeing is sunlight.
Yeah, dust has like generically most materials, not all, but most. If you crush them up into a fine dust, they'll look a lot more white because the little shards of everything are what's scattering all. It's like if you ground up glass.
Right.
If you grind up glass, I mean, you get sand basically, right? You get white
Right.
sand. So
The case. What about when we look at the Earth from the Himawari satellite, which is actually operating inside the Earth? It's not at 2,000 miles away. It's at the actual. It's at an equilibrium zone about halfway between the celestial sphere and the Earth, and we're actually looking at the cavity of the Earth. But what about the illumination there? Or let's take a.
you can't just take the numbers from science half the time and apply them to your absurdly different model of reality.
Whether or not
No.
that Discovery satellite is actually a real satellite, it's not. We're not experiencing this opposition surge. So it's a cop-out answer. It's a cop-out answer that they just fail to want to look extensively at and realize that they're actually in a state of denial. They're in a state of denial when they say that it's just a happy coincidence that the sun and the moon appear to be the same size in the sky.
It is just a happy coincidence. I used to not know anybody who made this argument, but P-Town makes this argument.
Seriously?
He makes the not that the Earth is hollow, but that
No,
because the
yeah.
sun and the moon, because the sun and the moon are like the same angular size in the sky, which they aren't. But I get his point. They like mostly are. Therefore, God.
Yeah. I don't even know. I mean, it's almost like 7-Day Terry, where it's just like every calendar has 7 days in it, therefore God. Like, you're just grasping at straws at this fucking point.
And they don't all. Not every calendar in every culture divides the week up into 7 days. It's not true.
What do you think the chances are of that happening with this vast, endless,
It's just impossible.
heliocentric universe? Yeah, with billions of light years. It's impossible.
No, it's
But they'll just say it's by a freak happy coincidence. That the sun is just magically 400 times farther away than the moon, and it's 400 times bigger. And
it's.
it's much more reasonable. See, I'm really.
I do think it's kind of an odd coincidence, though. Like it's
I mean,
the moon's a lot bigger than you would expect, and
Sure.
and sort of closer than you would expect, given all of the other moons in the solar system.
Yeah.
And yeah, we have the Theia impact hypothesis
Sure.
is I believe like dramatically the most popular one.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a leading thing now. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, but I mean,
Still,
just,
right,
I mean,
like,
okay, but I mean, it is like, I mean, it just, we,
Yes, no,
this
it is.
is- I
It is.
mean,
I think it,
this
and I
is
think
what we
I think it's
observe.
totally. I think
Yeah.
it's very reasonable. I think it's very reasonable. I think it makes. I think it makes a lot of sense. I
Yeah.
think it's what
I mean, our
happened. I think it's
moon
super
is-
badass.
right. But I mean, our moon is like disproportionately large, considering
It's
all
made
the
of
other moons that
mostly
we
the
see.
same stuff. Like
Yeah,
we've got the
yeah.
same ratios and various things. But
And it does appear to be same size or whatever. I don't know. It's big enough to give us eclipses, which, is kind of cool when you happen to be in the vicinity.
Liking to use the word reasonable lately. It's much more reasonable to believe that the sun and the moon are physically virtually the same size. And there's varying fluctuation because they're behind glass. I believe there's actually a negative refraction happening with the glass that surrounds the moon. And I believe that it also reverses the apogee and the perigee, meaning that when the moon is physically closer to the Earth, it actually appears a little bit smaller. And so it's an opposite effect. It's another way to trip up or trick mankind. But the moon, they will tell you, it appears flatter. It's not a perfect sphere. Well, that's because you're viewing it behind this negative refractive glass. So these small little details, small little anomalies give it away. But it's much more reasonable to believe that the sun and the moon are the same size, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I mentioned before, it's a good possibility that there's a guy named Dave Lapointe who made these videos about primer fields where there's these two bowls and they're opposite each other and they create this little...
Well, if they're so close, though, how far away does he think they are? I don't
know if
Surge
he's
of plasma
given
in the
us any size. Like how big is the
but-
sun? How big is the each respective glass dome?
How big it, like, does it all fit? Like, does the Earth go all the way around this? Like,
I don't know if the Earth has the same dimensions.
Does he think he can circumnavigate it, or not?
All great questions.
Right, because like, you can set an upper limit to how fast you can go by like means that we have available, and you can get from every spot on the planet to any other spot within a day. Like, physically you can do it if you got the planes, and a lot of the times you can do it for less than a couple $1,000s nowadays, depending on where those spots are. But that puts a geometrical constraint on the inside. If the Earth as we know it and have it mapped is just mapped onto the inside of the thing, where is all of this shit? Why don't we see any of it?
It's up. Just
that's not that far away, though.
No, yeah, that's
we
what he's
should
saying.
be able to,
right.
Inside the bowls, he calls it these confinement domes. And so these confinement domes are obviously in the shape of half spheres, actually a little bit more than half spheres. And so that's why I believe that the moon and the sun were actually formulated at the beginning, inside the center of the octahedron. And so
I don't know why the octahedron has to be like a thing. Like, it's so random and detached from the rest of everything.
I know. Why does it? I don't understand why
Somehow
it has to be a triangle. Like, why can't it just be a
I
sphere?
think
Like, literally
probably-
everything else in the diagram.
Because to appeal to the audiences that this needs to appeal to, you need to have pyramid lore in there.
Okay, that's fair.
Right? Like, Joseph Smith was super into, like, pyramidology. I mean, it was crazy.
they were formed. They shot up. One shot up north, one shot up south, out of the octahedron, and they began to orbit around the celestial sphere. And so we have the beautiful workings. This is just like a beautiful watch. Everything is synchronized. Everything is predictable because it's all closed. It's all perfectly knit together and operable in that way. The heliocentrists will say that the Earth wobbles. They call it the Chandler wobble. Well, it's much more reasonable to believe that a much smaller object, the celestial sphere, is slightly wobbling as opposed to a spinning Earth that's wobbling. So there's a slight little, very, very tiny wobble to the celestial sphere.
What?
It's called, they say it's due to the sun and the moon and lunisolar precession, I believe. And so there's this, when the sun and the moon are orbiting inside like that, they're creating pressure
Did you
pockets.
just see that?
What did I just see?
The sun and the moon and
Like, what? No,
lunisolar
but
precession, I believe. And so there's
this right here
when the sun and the moon are orbiting inside like that, they're
demonstrates
creating...
that's screaming, this is parody to me. There's no way you can, like, be able to visualize and understand, like, it thinks well enough to be able to, like, build something like that and not get how obviously dumb it is, right? Like,
creating pressure pockets.
like, if I had these if I were doing the debate thing and I had the ability to create, like, graphics like this, I would use them all the time to debate people. I'd be like, let's zoom in, and then I'd, like, show the scene from, like, different angles and be like, this is why we see the stars go around in circles and they go around 2 points instead of just zooming around. I think a lot of it is visualization is tough for a lot of people. It's
Yeah.
just it's complicated, and I don't know.
They're relieving pressure in one area and giving more pressure in other areas, and so it's gonna very slightly jar that celestial sphere to wobble very slightly. That's also how we get the tides too, via the pressure. As the moon and the sun orbit inside the glass that's at 100 kilometers high, it's slightly magnetic because there's actually iron. If you
100
the
kilometers?
Libyan desert glass, how they analyzed the Libyan desert glass, they found iron, they found magnetite. So this glass guy is actually slightly magnetic, and the moon is slightly magnetic as well. So they call it paramagnetic as opposed to ferromagnetic.
This is exactly how I would present
You
my
would.
BS work if I were to sell out. I would. I saw what he just did there, where he took the intersection
Yeah.
of these lines
Mhm.
and then folded it back and
Right.
wrapped it in on himself,
Yeah.
and that looks like it explains something if you
Yeah.
don't realize that it does.
This is what I was talking about earlier when you were like, well, why can't we see it? And I'm like, well, it's an illusion because in whatever he just said here,
Mhm.
yeah, it's an optical illusion. It, because of the, I don't know, the magnetic sphere and
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what those lines.
Yeah, the
they're made
lines.
up.
yeah, well, yeah, but the lines are
lines.
the optical illusion, and that's why we see things where it looks like a dome and flat. And what he's actually saying here is flat earthers are stupid. They're buying into the optical illusion when we're really inside the earth and we're looking at the sphere only turned back on us because science and numbers.
So as the moon
We
orbits
haven't
around,
gotten
it's
to the
relieving
numbers
pressure as it pulls the glass guy towards itself, and as it
And he said that
causes it to lower in the
the
opposite
first
side.
dome was
So it's
100
creating the tides
kilometers
that
in the
way.
sky.
Where it
That
is
was the
pressure in
number.
the system,
That's true.
beautifully pressurized. There's an equilibrium state. We have constant orbit. We have constant motion of the celestial bodies. There's also magnetism in play as well. I think that's how the satellites or the moon.
I'm with him. And then this just
The
doesn't
natural
follow.
satellites of planets like Jupiter and Saturn orbit their respective planets. There's a magnetic pull that's attracting them. I believe that these planets are the 7 vials of the Book of Revelation.
They
That when
do.
the sun
They
stops,
do
whatever's
have
inside these planets is going to be poured out upon the earth. and
resonances.
It's not going to look pretty, basically.
Sorry, I have
Yeah,
to
they're like
Read it.
bolts described in Revelation.
They're not happening.
Yeah,
Oh my
some
God.
versions, Bible versions, call them bowls. Some call them vials.
These things don't happen by chance. They
But
happen
they are
because
containers, and it's most
of
likely that at
periodic
least
influence
Jupiter,
of
Mars,
orbiting
Uranus, Neptune are
bodies
probably
under
glass
the mutual
balls with
gravitational
liquid
pull.
inside,
When they
because
get
when you see
closer
the
and further
stripes of
away, they
Jupiter,
push them
and we see these
into
cloud formations
pattern.
happening as a result of it spinning. But if you understand how, if you're spinning something, you're spinning a ball with liquid inside, or you're spinning a bucket around, that liquid is going to adhere to the concave.
I'm going to mute this guy because what is written here is sometimes more understandable than what he's saying.
The bastardized heliocentric interpretation of these regularities apply presupposed straight line trigonometry and steal from the real reason we have repetition, predictability, and synchronization.
Which, yeah, sparkly. So,
I kind of wish you would explain how the water got into the
The cloud
firmament.
formations happening on Jupiter, and so there's probably some kind of
I mean,
liquid inside these
maybe
planets that are
he'll
going to be
get
poured
there.
out when the sun stops. And I believe that these moons that are orbiting these planets are going to be used as ways in which to break open or to crash into the planets and open up the vials. So it has an eschatologic function. That's what people fail to understand. It's not there for decoration, but it actually has function, has purpose. It's kind of, it's kind of a dark omen if you think about it. This planet's just looming over our head, waiting to be poured out upon the Earth. So you have functionality. There's so much functionality going on here. We have the Milky Way band. You see the Milky Way band there, cocked at 60 degrees. The Milky Way band has a functionality. If you look at cosmic microwave background radiation, or the Planck data, you will see it's a perfect straight line. That Milky Way band. So that
where's the glass?
divides
I'm
the
sorry.
celestial sphere in two.
Can you show
It's
me
a
where the
perfect
glass
cutaway.
is?
It cuts it right in half. I actually believe during the time of the flood that Milky Way band.
Right, it's gotta be. It's gotta be a parody. It's gotta be somebody just trolling the ever-loving shit out of people for the lulz. And I gotta say, there's a level at which I can respect that. It's
I mean, that's what grifters do.
oh,
Pretty sure that's
Yeah.
what Hogan does.
yeah, but I'm not sure Hovind can read.
He
Right?
just memorizes shit.
I'm sure he can to some extent, but mostly only because he was forced to say that in court. When asked if he read and spoke and understood the English language, he said to some extent. So that's fun.
Was perfectly horizontal. It was going right across the celestial equator. But somehow it got cocked like that. But now that it's cocked like that, that's how we get the seasons. That's how we get the northern and the southern declination of the sun.
Oh.
It's being governed by the Milky Way. by the band. The sun can only go so far north and so far south before the band actually causes it to go the other way, because there are opposing currents, magnetic currents, in that celestial sphere, depending on which hemisphere you're in. And so obviously the sun's going to cross that band 2 times every year. Right now it's crossing the winter solstice in December, and the
Wow,
current in
this
that
is
hemisphere
actually
now
impressive.
is causing the sun to rise northward. So it gets to a point, and it also speeds up too. When it's going across the band, I call it, there's viscosity, which means that it's slowing it down. And that's why the sun actually has an actual varying velocity. The heliocentrists will say, no. The sun is stationary and the Earth is spinning and it's tilted, and the equatorial...
No one says the sun is stationary.
Huh?
No one says the sun is stationary.
Yeah.
I mean, relative. I mean, I guess you could say relative to us, sure, but like...
But no, not, yeah. Stationary, it depends on where what you're considering to sort of like define the center of your coordinate system.
Mm-hmm.
If you're talking about like astronomical solar system dynamics,
right,
then the sun is pretty close to stationary. It wobbles around itself.
Mm-hmm.
If Jupiter were a little bit bigger, the center of mass of the solar system would actually be slightly outside the sun, and technically the sun would orbit around that at the rate mostly of which Jupiter goes around, but it's not quite that big. The center of mass of the solar system is in fact inside of the sun. So.
Right. But this though, right?
But yeah, this is an incredibly well thought out basis for like a really neat alternative universe science fiction, like.
Yeah, this would be like,
would be super, like, it's actually fleshed out pretty well. This model is fleshed out so much better than flat Earth models already, to me.
Yeah.
I actually have some ideas of how some of this might work.
Mm-hmm.
And
no, it's one of the better models. Yeah.
Yeah, it requires certain magical thinking, but like. There's a medium, and it is bending and making the light go all wonky. Like, they're straight up acknowledging that,
mm-hmm.
and like incorporating that fundamentally as like, this is a thing that is happening.
No,
and
yeah,
it's like, okay, once
it
you
incorporates
do that,
everything you see into the model.
It's like, and was like, once you do that, I'm like, okay, it becomes harder for me to just disprove your model, because you have this somewhat ill-defined, but not necessarily. I
mean.
Obviously totally impossible. There are details about it that are with a little bit of they're pretty obviously impossible. Like relative positions of things when you look out would look deformed in ways that we don't see. They just would.
I
but
mean,
the
we
simple
can just,
examples
flat out
I
just
can
prove
imagine
that there's a firmament. What did you say? 100. What was it? 100 kilometers or something? Whatever in the
110
sky?
kilometers, I think.
Something like that. Something stupid. Like, we can disprove firmament at all, though, right? Glass dome around the sun.
I mean, only if you're willing to believe that we can actually send stuff up that high, which yes. So yes. the ISS orbit's higher than that.
I just don't understand how airplanes work in this thing.
They're always tilting up, remember?
And that gets you from like here to like Fiji.
Well, I mean,
without
technically they have a shorter distance to go, because they get to, as the crow flies, is actually a shorter path than as the ship sails. And certainly shorter than what's the other one? The animal that digs, burrows. I don't remember.
Oh yeah, we have no idea how thick the Earth's crust is anymore.
I don't. It's just.
Oh yeah, and how the fuck does lava work?
It's just rock all the way out.
How do volcanoes work?
I don't know how volcanoes work. I think maybe they're fake. It's a promising avenue. Let's see if he takes it.
Inclination is causing us to think that the sun is actually slowing down and speeding up in the sky, as well as the Earth orbiting in an elliptical orbit around the sun. Well, no, that's not true. I mean, if you watch my NLM video, I explain, well, that's, even the astronomer Royale said that's not happening. It's not going to cause, your equatorial locations. It's not going to cause the apparent slowing down and speeding up of the sun. And so, in my model here, you understand that there is an actual literal slowing down and a literal speeding up of the sun, as the back of the sun, the rays that connect to the sun, are going through the Milky Way band towards the air. They're getting slowed. There's viscosity there. It's slowing the sun down. So the sun is it's connected. It's connected to the top of the octahedron. It's a circuit. It's anode to cathode. And so we have real variant velocity of the sun, and that's what creates the analemma. If you take a picture of the sun at the same time every day, in the sky, over the course of 1 year, it's going to create a figure 8, with the southern side being much fatter. And that's because the sun actually physically gets a little bit closer to the Earth in the southern hemisphere. And that kind of loosens the velocity of the sun. It makes it much slower and much faster as opposed to the north. And so it's creating like a fat figure 8, basically.
Yeah, I've always found that like kind of neat because I wouldn't have necessarily expected that, just like based off of my sense of the orbits, the analemma that it's not symmetrical. And I like worked through the math on it once, and it's annoying.
Indeed.
As a lot of this math is annoying because it's a lot of like spherical coordinates with like weird origins and stuff, and I don't know, that can get there's a lot of trigonometric functions, and I don't want no part of any of that nonsense. I like simple math.
Yeah, same.
The moon has an analemma as well, but the moon's analemma is done once every lunar month.
Is there another
the
like section to this where it
Because
kind of gets into, because we're hitting up on 2 hours, and I'm not sure if he says sectioned, but I would like to see if it talks more about like
We've got orbit the
flat Earth in the first place, because it's a gateway to understanding the truth. It's a stepping stone to understanding the true shape of the Earth. There is curvature, but since light bends up, you don't really detect it that well. So when you say show me the curvature, I say
this
show
is
me your
kind of neat
intelligence.
though.
okay.
Like look at this.
Show me your intuition.
Yeah.
He's
show
got
me
all
that
the
you cannot
things
get fooled
moving
again.
around. Why are they going in the loop-de-loops?
Yeah.
Because I have a burden other than just to
Okay,
tell it like
because
it is.
that's the orbits, the way we kind of see them. Those are the
Yeah.
the loops are for the retrograde.
Yeah. I think you're right. The loops are for the retrograde, but in his model, why is it? Because remember how he was poo-pooing ellipses as being like
Yeah.
yucky and not beautiful and scientific? Like, what is this nonsense? Right?
This
Like-
is the only way you can see retrograde movements inside a
It-
concave Earth.
It's a
Tell the
knot.
truth.
Yeah, it's a
I
mess.
sleep well. I have cognitive harmony. And I think you do too. I mean, it's just, you guys who follow me know my model. I mean, there's nothing that is not resolved in your psyche and your understanding of things.
It's
So,
nothing that's not
They're
resolved.
faced with a choice. Are you going to go back to a fictitious spin
Was
ball?
there a particular
Or are you
section
going to come to the
that
truth?
I didn't make it quite this far. I think I got
It's
an
just a
hour
matter of
in.
time when everyone will know that the Earth is
I watched a
concave.
lot of videos,
Yes.
so maybe I'm thinking about a
It will
different
be. It
one.
has to be. I mean, it's,
I remember thinking
Like it was
seeing one that talked
prophesied
about volcanoes,
that
but
the knowledge of
obviously it
the Lord
wasn't
will
this
be full as water.
I skipped
covered
ahead
the
a
seas.
little bit,
yes.
yeah.
but
This
not.
was
Yes,
that was
that
interesting.
the knowledge of me will be filled. Your
He's a little loopy, but it's
It's crazy.
yeah. And we're this is a good place to stop because we're hitting
Yeah.
2 hours. And you've been listening to a lot of pseudoscience today.
It's yeah. And actually, like it was, it was an argument. The argument that Sal was making was that you expect to see the pulses from gamma ray bursts to also be spread out. They should show the same time dilation if the universe is expanding, and we haven't detected that so far. And he cited a paper to that effect, and I was scanning through that paper. It's true that we haven't seen that effect, but the reason for that is because of limitations in our current detection capabilities. So yeah, the paper I don't think says what he thinks it says. One of the authors works at Stanford though, so I might try and get in. I'm going to try and like figure out what the paper says maybe and understand exactly sort of what Sal thinks the paper says, and then
Good
I
luck
might
with that. No,
like
truly.
Well, I think what Sal thinks the paper says is we haven't studied that or seen the effect that we should have been able to see, and that's a problem. And I think the paper says we don't see that effect. Here's why we don't see that effect, and it's a reasonable explanation. And fundamentally, there is I think when talking with Sal, there's sort of this fundamental part of the reasoning that goes a little bit unsaid sometimes, which is it's more reasonable that there's some details that we don't understand about certain parts of these processes than his cosmology is right. Like that just doesn't work. That feels like dodging the question.
I was just wondering, like, has he ever put forth a theory outside of, I mean, like an actual something more than God did it to explain his theory of the universe?
No, not in the way that I think you're asking. No. There's a certain extent to which I think that's almost fair, though. If you actually think God did it at the beginning and like made the universe in a certain way, if you think God made the universe 6,000 years ago, how it is now with the light already on its way from supernova that never happened, from stars that never existed, and because their light is only being created on its way to you, that is actually not a position that, to some extent, I have that much problem with.
But I mean, there's got to be a way that God did it, right? I mean, nobody actually thinks
Yeah,
that something
that's the part
spoke
where
and things just out of magic, I mean, it's just like ding, and like things just popped up
no,
and
yeah, I that's what I thought. I think
I mean, is that what's
maybe a
salvaged?
little bit fancier than that, but it would have been like a swirling, the waters of Earth that were formless and void.